Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm your host Chris Davis, and today we're going to do a special video. This video will be discussing about the future of the DCEU, like how and why did it fail, and is James Gunn the right person for the job? So with that being said, let's get into it. So the DCEU, like the future of it. Well, before we get into the future, let's discuss, okay, how and why did the DCEU fail? How come Marvel has been so successful and the DCEU hasn't been? Well, let's look at Marvel. For the most part, Marvel, Kevin Feige makes all the decisions. He has complete autonomy over anything and everything Marvel. And for the most part, Disney has been pretty hands off most of the time when it comes to Marvel entertainment, especially like the live action. There's two instances where they had their hand in stuff and like they've made a decision. So recently, Jonathan Majors, which that wasn't a bad decision. Disney is family friendly, and when you're convicted of like an assault charge, they're going to fire you because that's bad publicity for them, and they can't be associated with anyone who's convicted of that. But another time where Disney had their hand like in the pot and it caused issues, which is with James Gunn. And with James Gunn, he was outed from Marvel for a while because some conservatives brought up a tweet he made in 2009, and like 2015, 2016, somewhere along there, he was cut out from Marvel, and that's what really started his thing about going over to DC. Marvel had let him go because of a tweet he made like almost like a decade ago, and DC thought, hey, since he did such a great job with those Guardians of the Galaxy movies and he worked under Kevin Feige, let's hire him for the DCEU. So that's kind of one time Disney put their hands in, got too involved, and like it caused issues. But there may be some other times, but those are the times that I can recollect. Now, Marvel's success, most part Kevin Feige makes all the decisions. Disney's pretty hands off. Kevin Feige knows about comics. He's really passionate about comics shows. Nearly all of his films have been very successful. Even the ones that are terrible seem to do very well. Now, the ones that are like really questionable that I don't think perform very well are Ant-Man 2 and Ant-Man 3, and what's that other one? Eternals. I think those are the ones that you can say did not do so well, but all the others were really good and made Marvel and Disney profit. So again, Disney is pretty hands off, and they let Kevin Feige make all the decisions as long as he makes money, and whoever he brings in as a cast, as long as they don't do anything bad that hurts Disney's family and friendly brand like Jonathan Majors did, they can stick around. And James Gunn. But they eventually brought James Gunn back for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, but that was too late because Warner Brothers gave him a deal to be head of DC and pretty much head of everything. So comics, live action, animation. I would have just made James Gunn just head of live action. I wouldn't have given him so much power to be in charge of animation and comics, because I think he needs to prove himself before he has that much control. Even Kevin Feige was in control of everything Marvel until after like his live action stuff started doing really well for years. Then he was like, I think, in charge of comics and like animation and stuff. But giving James Gunn all of that control, and to me he hasn't really like proven himself, um to me is a mistake. But you're asking, Chris, what about those Guardians of the Galaxy movies that he did so well on? They were good, but they still had Kevin Feige signing off on them. Kevin Feige still, I'm trying to think of the term, quality checked them. So he still had like Kevin Feige making sure those films were really good. But before James Gunn even touches live action, or like even touches the comics, well, even touches animation or comics, to me he needs to prove himself very well in the live action, and then we can talk about animation, because DC animation is where they really excel. They're really successful in that area more than like Marvel is. So I wouldn't really give James Gunn control in that area. It would just be live action. And if you did really well at that, like Marvel level well at that, or close to Marvel level well at that, okay, then we could talk about you kind of controlling everything else. And anyway, why is DC not as successful as Marvel in live action? Well, I think with Zack Snyder, it was the opposite of Kevin Feige. Zack Snyder, you guys don't realize it, Zack Snyder didn't try to just rush and put the Justice League together and Batman v Superman. Those were executives telling him that's what we need to do, and like he told them that they could not do it this way, because it would be lazy writing, and it would be better if the characters, they brought them in, have their own movie, have their own background flushed out, so when you bring them together in the Justice League, they're not having to spend so much time talk about who's this character or where do they come from. It's better to do it, give most of the characters in the Justice League their own solo film, then bring them together into their own Justice League film, so you're not spending time trying to do backstories on different characters. But WB execs, wanting to catch up with Marvel, said put the whole film together, just make a Justice League film. Zack Snyder said like, no, that's not going to work. And I think when Batman v Superman came out, I don't think like the executives got most of the blame. I think most of the blame fell to Zack Snyder, even though he told them that it wasn't going to work. But he had to do what they wanted because they were in charge. So I think Zack Snyder, I know that Zack Snyder didn't have the same privileges as Kevin Feige does, having complete autonomy over like the whole cinematic universe. Another thing I think that hurt the WB is their constant mergers. So WB, Warner, it's hard to keep track of it because the constant mergers, I think, also interrupted a lot of things. It was AT&T, then it was Discovery. So these constant mergers, changing of executives, changing of bosses, I think also kind of got in the way, of some things as well. So those are like the big hows and why DCEU fell short of Marvel. Even though Marvel started before the DC, what really hurt DC was rushing the Justice League film and not giving Zack Snyder some not giving him some autonomy to do stuff. Of course, accountability and stuff. I'm not saying he shouldn't have been accountable, but he knew more about putting together a cinematic universe than the executives like at WB did, or Warner Discovery, like whatever like they're called now. Now in the future, I kind of talked about this a little earlier in the video, like James Gunn is coming in, and he's clearing out Zack Snyder's DCEU. He's bringing in his own cast. He's doing his own DCEU universe, his own version of it. Do I like that? Really no, because I really liked Henry Cavill as Superman. I thought he did a great job. I really liked Jason Momoa as Aquaman. I really liked Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, even though I didn't think she would be a good fit for that role at first. But she did a really good job as Wonder Woman, and I know like there's some that it had a bad start, but I think like James Gunn could still fix the whole thing by writing it. He didn't have to just Thanos snap like the whole DCEU like out and just bring in his own version. Yeah, I prefer like he kept Gal Gadot, Henry Cavill, and Jason Momoa, but he's removing them and he's bringing in his own cast, his own characters, doing his own vision. Like I said, I don't like it, and but I could be okay with it if it was just live action. My issue is I don't think he's like done enough like to prove that he should have control over live action, animation, comics. I don't think like he's done enough. Like, yes, he made the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, yes, but Kevin Feige, like I said, still quality checked those movies. Like, I would be like okay with this, better with this, if he just like had autonomy on the live action. I could live with it. But to me, even when he did his press conference, like showing, like telling us that he's in charge and everything, I think with that message he was like conflating some stuff. I think he was mentioning about how the fans were talking about how nothing is like really connected with the TV shows, with the movies, and with the animation. I think he was conflating some stuff because of the Zack Snyderverse. Rather than casting Ezra Miller, people were saying that he could have brought in Grant Gustin's The Flash in there, someone who already plays The Flash. You'd have gotten a lot of not just hardcore DC fans, but some casuals who've been watching that show on the CW. If he put him in, that would have brought more attention, more viewers to the DCEU, and had more people plugged in. Also, putting Stephen Amell's Green Arrow in there, because he did an awesome job as Green Arrow. Putting him in there would have been an awesome thing. So I just think that when he put out that press conference, that he was on the right track, but he didn't hit the bullseye. You know, with your live action, it doesn't all have to connect to the TV shows, and it really doesn't have to connect to the animation. Those could be the animation could be separate, because like I think it's going to be very tough for an actor to do live action movie and like to do an animation, because they probably want to do other roles too. But I'm saying what the fans were saying was not bringing in Grant Gustin's Flash and Stephen Amell's Green Arrow. That was a missed like opportunity. Like that was just a opportunity you had right there that you could have like capitalized on and did, like, because those two shows were like very successful, especially in their first 2 or 3 seasons. You really could have like used that instead of having like bringing like someone else in, and they could have been like really connected in that way. But DCEU, Warner Brothers X, didn't do it, and I just think with James Gunn, he's really missing like the point there. It, like, if that makes any sense. But the main thing, like, kind of I want is, I do like want like really good DC films: Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, especially the Green Lantern, the one that I can't think of his name, not Ryan Gosling. I can't think of his name, but he plays Deadpool right now. Ryan Reynolds, yes, Ryan Reynolds. When he did the Green Lantern film, we all know it was bad. But I mainly want really good DC films. Like, I think everyone wants a really good DC film. What I want is, well, what I preferred is for him to have kept that old cast Zack Snyder brought together and just write it, and like he could still like fix it. But he wants to bring in his own version. He wants to do his own thing. Fine, but I guess what I'm really trying to say is I don't like how he's like getting all this power and there's not really anything. Like, he's done like directing wise, or like himself without Kevin Feige, that justifies him like having it. Even when he made the Suicide Squad film, like during the pandemic or after the pandemic, it wasn't good. It wasn't good. It was really bad. So he made that Suicide Squad film. It was bad. So should I really give him the responsibility of making a entire cinematic universe when you really couldn't do a really good job with that Suicide Squad film? That's all I'm saying. So I'm gonna end this video before it gets too long. So that's all we have for today. If you liked what I had to share, please hit the like button, hit subscribe, share this video with all your friends, and all of you have a great day.